everyone, and welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we introduce them to professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a very special guest. Jared, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Rod. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Jared, please introduce yourself in the name of your business.
All right. I'm Jared A. Chambers. I'm the owner of Chambers Creative Communications, and we help with sales and marketing alignment.
Awesome. We so look forward to learning more about your business, and we understand that time is one of our most valuable resources. So let's jump into things and tell us a little bit about your journey.
All right. Well, hey, I'm a lifelong Georgia native. I've lived here my whole life and my family before me. So this is home. And I'm a graduate of what was Southern Polytechnic State University, just down the road here.
Yes.
And my dream when I went there was to be an engineer. But I found out that sitting and doing math problems all day really wasn't my idea of fun. But I do love technology. I love problem solving. And what I found was I'm really good at communication and persuading people with ideas. Like, how do we build a career out of the best of both worlds?
Right.
So I finished my program there with a degree in technical communication with the idea I'm going to go into technical sales as a career. And that's basically what I did. I built a 25-year career really spanning both sales and marketing because of that communication background. So I have touched every side of the business. I have carried a quota. I've been, running a territory, but I've also been building marketing materials and messaging from scratch where nothing was built yet. And eventually just moving on to building teams, first, more as a project management sort of thing, like running an RFP response or something like that. But eventually, I ran an inside sales team, and I also ended up really as an executive covering all of sales and marketing for a company.
Now, when you got ready to get started with your schooling, because I always like to go back to the origin of things, you chose engineering. Was that something that you had influence from your family, or you were pulling apart computers back in the day? Tell us what made you start with engineering.
Well, I'm a product of both of my parents. I really am. So my dad, he was always that do-it-yourselfer type, very mechanically inclined, could find a solution to any problem. Didn't have a degree for it, but I was always the helper, building things, fixing things. And we had a little acreage that I grew up on, and so there was always something to do in terms of building something, fixing something. I really liked being around tools. I had what I call the Apollo 13 mindset to engineering. If you remember that movie,
I do.
After the whole problem starts, on the ground, the engineers have a box of parts that are available on that spacecraft to solve a problem with. That was my idea of engineering. How do I solve a problem with just what's at hand right here? Again, it was sitting and doing calculus all day. But so my dad was a huge influence upon the technical side of me. And my mom, who is very well read and loves writing and loves knowing little things about facts and history and things like that, is very much an influence on the communication side of what I do.
That's a big difference. Now, there's a lot of people that are tinkering that will not get out there and talk to anyone, and then there's a bunch of people who know how to talk and communicate but cannot do the mechanical side. Tell us a little bit about, over that 25 years, how were you able to bridge the gap, and then share one of those success stories about how you were able to communicate some of those ideas over to your team?
Yeah, so like I said, I started out with this idea that I'm going to go into technical sales. So that's a very like Lone Ranger sort of thing, right? I'm going to get out there. I'm going to be the one doing it and selling. What I figured out, like the first company that I went to work for out of school was engineering-based company. We were a distributor for industrial automation products, robotics, controls, all that cool factory floor stuff. I didn't have the tools that I needed to go out and sell all of it. I mean, marketing was barely existent. Engineers just have this mindset of, okay, I'm going to solve the problem, and if it works, buy it. If it, take it or leave it
Yes,
kind of
yes.
mentality.
Right.
And I kind of came in with a little different mindset. And very quickly, I went from not just, trying to generate the leads from, picking up the phone and doing cold calls kind of thing, but really building out a larger marketing plan, which included, let's do a newsletter. Let's update this ancient website to something that's relevant. And, this is, early 2000s, so all kinds of technology tools just becoming available. And being young, I'm like, how do we take more advantage of this? Whether it's using web-based communication in real time, whether it's using more Salesforce type automation like CRM systems and using them effectively, and like what can I get out of it? So that's where I began this crossover from touching one side to the other in the business.
Excellent. Now, you said that as you were going along, I wanted you to highlight one of those experiences where you had to just create something. When you and I were talking in the past, you said that, hey, I got hired to do one thing, but I was doing another thing. I'm assuming you creating a manual or a project from the beginning was one of those things. Tell us a little bit about that.
And the funny thing is, Rod, I could actually pull out half a dozen examples of that. So we will narrow it down to one. And I will go to, one of the companies that I worked for, Atlanta-based tech company in the logistics space. And they had really set themselves up, growing as the back end of technology grew for order fulfillment. As e-commerce and infomercials are becoming more of a thing, they had evolved, but going out and hunting business wasn't something they really had to worry about. They were growing with an industry. And they had reached an agreement to be bought out by a competitor before I started there. That agreement fell through. So I came on in a company where, I'm being hired for, I forget even what the title was. I think business development manager or something like that, more or less, ground level sales, generate leads, kind of get some things going for us. We'll worry about how to close it later because we're not just selling product, we're selling like 3 to 5 year multi-million-dollar fulfillment contracts. We just got to get things going. And again, I have zero tools in front of me. If a customer says, well, send me something about this, I have nothing to send. So one of the first big projects I really got involved with, just days after being brought on board there, we had an opportunity to respond to a request for proposal from, it was World Wrestling Entertainment. This is cool.
Let's go, yes.
But there's nothing there. I mean, the RFPs, for people who are familiar with what RFPs look like, I know that's not everybody.
What does that mean?
So that's a request for proposal, and that's how a lot of bigger companies doing, capital expense type projects procure vendors for that. And so their way of doing that, come up with a long questionnaire and a whole process for evaluating those vendors. So there's going to be, marketing-based questions about what kind of a business that you are, because they want to know who they're doing business with. But they also want to get into the nitty-gritty technical details. If it's a technical solution, everything, because they want to be able to compare head-to-head, right? No way of doing that. So this again is where the writing background comes in handy. And I had a writing background, but I had exactly one proposal writing class in that. So I'm like going back to like textbook, like, we need to have this in there. Really just building it from the ground up.
Yes.
And we were able to get that proposal in on time, which was a feat in and of itself, and it was far from perfect. We got in on time and we got to the next level with it, but the CEO of the company is like looking at this like, why don't we have this? Like this is going to happen again, hopefully, if we're doing things right. We've got to have these kinds of things, and Jared obviously has the ability to do that. So that's just one example of coming in, starting from scratch and building out something that really is not just a way to respond to those proposals, but you're really having to start to think bigger about what's our value proposition as a company.
Yeah.
Because that has to start to feed into all of the written things. And whether it's a piece of marketing material or your website or a piece of sales material like a proposal, has to sound like it's coming from one voice, even though it's a symphony of voices who are helping to create this. It has to have one underlying message that has to be compelling, has to position you as top tier within your segment. And that's something that I was able to help build.
Nice, nice. I definitely appreciate you sharing that story, because what I want the people to understand is that you are here to help find solutions. You use the tools that you have in front of you. So if they have some great tools for you to use, you go ahead and maximize that. But more importantly, you have shown that if those tools aren't there, you can help come up with the ideas. So that I knew that already.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to be able to explain that. Now, as we talk about coming up with solutions, you had an illustrious 25 plus year career handling marketing and teams and creating projects and things like that. But there did come a moment where you said, hey, look, you're going to burn the ship and go all in on yourself.
Yeah.
Was there an event that happened that made you say, you know what, I am going to burn the ship and I'm going to go all in on Jared?
There absolutely was, Rod, and it didn't happen all overnight.
Okay.
But once it happened, it was unmistakable that it happened.
Okay.
So the last regular full-time position I was in, I was working as director of sales and marketing for a company called Chartwise Medical Systems.
Okay.
So this is cool. I'm kind of at a what I think of as an elite level that I am responsible for end-to-end sales and marketing for the company. Executive.
Yeah.
It was a director role, but it was a small enough company. I had my fingers in all of the things. It was a lot of fun. I knew when I was working on this, some tech companies are built to be the next 800-pound gorilla in their industry. A lot of tech companies, on the other hand, are built to be acquired by the 800-pound gorilla in their industry.
Right.
I had enough background experience that I knew I was building something that was going to be sold eventually. I figured I probably had 2 to 4 years to work on this and build something really impressive that would get bought. I actually ended up working there for 6 months before we got the news that, yes, major competitor on the radar did, in fact, make an offer.
Okay.
I spent the next 6 months working there as a transitional sort of role. So, okay, well, that all went down quicker than I expected. But I'm like, this experience is going to be really valuable.
Yes.
And I'm really starting to home in at this point on what I do really well, which is integrating sales and marketing, positioning a company as that top tier, can't be ignored competitor.
Yes.
And that's part of why you get acquired. So I see nothing but good things ahead from this. And I go out there, put the resume out there. I'm just looking for the next full-time gig at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, I get interviews. That's not a problem. I'm like, oh, you're definitely a finalist for this one. We really like what you have to offer. This is great. That started becoming a repeating pattern.
Oh, I got you.
Always the finalist, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, as the saying goes.
I got you.
And I'm like, okay, this is strange. Like, what's happening here? And, I would look back at some of those companies. Some ended up just hiring younger and cheaper. And, the perception is, okay, he's done all of the things. He's going to be expensive. And some, the position went away altogether. And I think part of the reason for that is in the conversation, they realized that they weren't ready for the next step.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But what I realized is I can't wait for permission from somebody else to figure out my future.
Okay.
So I had already set up a long time ago Chambers Creative Communications just to do side hustles with. I would do like a little marketing project or a little writing project on the side, and I had done that pretty much the entirety of my career. When it came up, I didn't sell it. Just word of mouth. Like,
somebody
Jared knows
you.
this stuff. And so I set it up. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go all in on this full time. And we'll figure it out.
Okay.
And like, I'm a smart enough guy. I can figure it out. I've seen dumber people do better things. So
I
like,
gotcha.
why not?
I
So
gotcha.
that happened after a while of interviewing, but that was a little over like about 2.5 years ago that I hit that point.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, it's like, okay, I'm kind of focusing back again on some of those one-off kind of writing projects
Right.
for people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's figure out the message, of course, but I'll do the deliverables
Okay.
for you.
Okay.
That's kind of nice coming out of the gate because you feel like you're doing something and getting traction. What it wasn't doing is building a real business
Okay.
that is paying the bills and is also sustainable for the long
For the
term.
future. Mm-hmm.
And I really went into like year 2 of the business like, I'm willing to say no to things.
Okay. Okay.
To get this to where it needs to be as a real actual business that's built around me.
Right.
That's going to fit, income requirements, lifestyle, and really focus in on what I do best. Because here's one of the problems, Rod, and I'm sure you've seen this before doing this podcast, talking to a lot of people. People who do a lot of things really well, it's easy to let yourself get off into the weeds.
Yeah.
You say yes to things because, I can do it. And I can do it well. It's not just a matter of, jack of all trades, master of none. I actually do these different things very well.
Yes.
But at some point, you have to figure out there's only so many hours in a day. There's only so many people that you can sell to.
Mm-hmm.
I have to really narrow focus so that I'm not trying to boil the ocean.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. And like you said earlier, you had given yourself permission to get out there and do your own thing. And then as you went into year 2, you realize I need to do what is going to be best and beneficial for me. And that's what I want, you to share today. Tell us a little bit about what it's like working with you, and ultimately, how are you bringing together both the marketing and the sales aspect for a business?
Great question. What I figured out is the best way to bring them together is to physically bring them together.
Okay.
So, yeah, and in the beginning, I was more focused on this whole messaging component. Number one, because I'm good at it. But number two, if you look at sales and marketing, not as independent silos, but as a revenue continuum.
Okay.
One thread that's going to tie all of those things together is your core message as a company. That's what your marketing materials should be presenting. That's what your salespeople should be presenting. And it, again, should focus on what makes your company unique. And again, what sets you apart is that top tier competitor. People want choices, but they don't want endless choices.
Right.
Ultimately, they want to narrow down and figure out, okay, who do I need to be talking to and dealing with? So messaging ties all of that together. I know that. I know that a lot of companies, because I've worked for them, they have a problem actually accomplishing that.
Okay.
But again, where I started out, like, okay, I'll go and do some investigation in the company, and I'm going to tell them what the message should be, and I'm going to do the deliverables and help them come up with the content and the products and the sales books and all of that.
Yeah.
Again, it's too much. It's over the top. And what I have discovered is really the secret sauce is the beginning portion where you're just bringing everyone together and airing it out.
Okay.
And I'm a good facilitator who can help do that. And I know I begin with the end in mind, so I know where we're going with this. So what it looks like working with me now is really a live engagement, depending on company size, focused in on doing a 2 to 3 day direct engagement. I have a formula that I follow. I call it evaluate, facilitate, formulate.
Okay.
So evaluate, real simple. Let's figure out what's not working, what is working. Like, let's get together in a room, start just workshopping this out in person, getting people on record. What's the problem that we're trying to solve?
Right.
And figuring out where the gaps are. Facilitate is more of that in-depth facilitated discussion because it's not just discovering what the problems are.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of companies, there's this inherent friction between sales and marketing.
Okay.
And it's not all their fault. I mean, people are products of their management structures.
That's right.
Right. Marketing has goals they have to hit. Sales has goals that they have to hit. And it can be too easy when a goal hasn't been hit by either or both to point fingers. And we know that's not helpful, but we also understand why it happens. So let's get everyone in a room. As a manager, when I was managing people, one of the things I've always believed, don't take somebody who's not good at something and make it your goal to make them good at that thing.
Okay.
It's a waste of your time.
Gotcha.
Find out what they are good at and put them there and make them responsible for it. Make them own it.
Right.
So that's part of what the direct engagement is about. If somebody in sales isn't good at this part of the process and needs help, and somebody in marketing can help them do that better, like, let's build a process around that that's going to work here. And let's figure out what the measures are for that. Like, okay, you're responsible for this, and this is how we're going to measure if it's been done. You're responsible for that, and this is how we're going to measure if that got done.
Yes.
So that's the facilitation, and then formulate. So one of the things that happens when you're the guy creating the deliverables, whether it's the content that gets used or it's just the playbook that everyone's going to follow, and I don't care how good you are at it, everyone becomes a critic overnight.
Yes.
And also, one of the easiest traps to fall into is if I come and do a discovery session and I go away for 3-4 weeks, develop this stuff and bring it back, you've already shifted gears. Like, oh, that's very cool. And it gets set aside and it doesn't get implemented.
Right.
Making people have ownership over the actual solution and the implementation, I believe, is where it's at. So in the same way we worked out live what the problems were and who's responsible for what and how we're going to figure out how to work together, we're going to workshop out what is the brand message in real time. Like, what is our core value proposition? How are we different from the competitors? Do we all agree on what our ideal customer profile looks like? As we're solving these problems, let's put it down, because everyone's going to be accountable to it, and everyone had a voice in it.
Yes.
You can't say later, well, yeah, that was all fine and good, but that was just, seminar BS, and go back to doing your thing. If you're there and you're part of the solution, you've had the privilege of being included in the solution. How do you look at your boss in 6 months and say, well, yeah, I didn't do that because X, Y, or Z? No excuses.
Yes,
no excuses.
You were there. Yeah, I definitely appreciate you sharing what it is that you're doing for these individual business owners. What I want to do is just help to create a framework of what that ideal client looks like. So if you can share with us if that is a solopreneur or is it based off of employees, revenue numbers, give us an idea so as the audience is keeping an ear out for that opportunity for a referral for you, what they look like.
Yeah. So I've broken down my ideal into a couple of segments. Okay. So the first is what I call solo micro, which is typically a B2B type company. It doesn't have to be, but between about $1 and $10 million in revenue. What it looks like is typically founder-led sales and marketing. All of the great knowledge about what the message is and how to sell it and who we are, it's all up in one guy's head. And he's had this concept that he's proven out, he or she, and like, okay, I want to grow. So you add a couple of salespeople, maybe you hire a marketing person, and what you immediately discover is, okay, we don't have linear growth with the resources that we've added. Well, that's because to scale, you have to take that knowledge and start to build systems and formality around it. So that is an ideal customer type for me, where I can come in, bring in those fledgling resources that you've started to assemble, and hey, we're at a perfect stage to take what you as the founder, CEO, what you know so well, and start to spread that knowledge around, but also scale it, make it work,
Okay.
get everyone's input on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a second stage, what I really, refer to as the small to medium business. Okay, more like around 10 to 25 million.
Okay.
Not a hard limit on that, but that's typically the range they fall in. Where, okay, they've gotten a little further than that solo micro. They've added resources. They were even able to grow some, but now they're having that true silo friction because the systems that they've built around what they're familiar with and what they've always seen, which is always, here's a marketing department with somebody over it, and here's a sales department with somebody over that, and they're just kind of mimicking what they've seen. And in mimicking what works, they've also mimicked the 1,000 things that don't work. And so that's an ideal time for me to come in and help them and say, okay, yeah, some of this going to work fine, but I can help you work together more seamlessly.
Yes. Seems like you help those owners who have done their thing for the entire time understand the importance of delegation. Now, with them being able to delegate, just touch on it briefly. How do you get them to overcome letting go of the steering wheel and letting someone else come in and drive?
That's not easy to do.
I know.
You promised no hard questions, and that's the toughest question that you could have asked. No, seriously. Part of doing the live process is you're breaking down barriers, and one of those barriers is ego. But one of the things that we're showing that founder, owner, top CEO is, I'm not trying to eliminate you. I'm trying to duplicate all of what you have up here. Because you have something special. You just haven't figured out necessarily how to put that in a formal process or system or put it in a training course that's for onboarding. I want what you have scaled. Because you wouldn't have gotten here if you didn't have something unique.
That's right.
If you didn't understand something about selling and how to message it, I'm not here to tell you all the things that you've done wrong. I'm here to tell you what you've done right and help you duplicate it and scale it across your team.
Gotcha. Well, if that's the hardest pitch I'm going to throw at 100 miles per hour, you knocked it out of the park. That's a magnificent answer. I never thought of it that way of, like you mentioning, still playing towards their ego, but getting them to understand you only have 24 hours. Let me give you 48. Let me give you 72 in that same day by delegating some of those things that you're doing. So thank you so much for asking that. Now, you mentioned earlier, born, raised here in the wonderful state of Georgia. Tell us about your geographical target. Are you trying to just handle businesses in this local area that you can easily touch, or are you fine with going over to Washington State and helping someone there?
Yeah, I'll do both. So I think as a business owner, again, wanting to get away from the concept of trying to boil the ocean, it always makes sense to look in your own backyard where you can help. And so I focus a lot on local networking. We have a very vibrant business scene in Metro Atlanta of all sizes, particularly the profile that I just mentioned. So I love being able to help local businesses. My entry point for them, if you're local, I'll even come in for an hour live. We'll get the team together and we'll do just like a hour long, like lunch and learn type session, or however you want to set it up during the day, to kind of just do a mini workshop for an hour. And because I'm local, I can do that. I will work with anybody, anywhere. Obviously, that initial offer has to be a little different because I can't just, fly out for an hour for free everywhere. So what I'll do for those customers, if you're further away, I will do independent SWOT analysis of your sales and marketing with a questionnaire and some materials just to give you some immediate feedback that you can use. But as far as the engagements, I don't mind doing one here in Ackworth, Georgia. I don't mind doing one over on the West Coast. It just where it makes sense. And what I know from my career is there's a lot of people out here who need this help.
Yes.
They just need to be educated about it, because a lot of people, they're saying, well, I have a sales problem, or I have a marketing problem, or worse, I have a people problem. And really, you have an alignment problem, and it's very fixable.
Nice, nice. Now, Jerry, you have displayed that over your 25-year career, before this, 27, 28 now, that you have been able to get out here and just help people. And I'm confident that over that time, you have acquired and nurtured a bunch of best practices or business skills that have helped you to be successful. Do you mind sharing with the audience a couple of those skills? Maybe they can add that to their mix and try to strive towards similar success?
Yeah, there's a couple of things I try to drive home with everyone. Number one, if you're ever going to touch a person outside of your business in any way, a customer, you are in sales.
Okay.
So stop thinking of that as a bad word. Think of it as a good thing, and think about it as problem solving, not pitching and persuading.
Right.
If that helps you like get over that hump. So understand your role in that everyone is in sales. And the other thing about that too, now I've just spent all this time talking about like helping businesses come up with their core value message and how you stand out. Understand really it's about this. Being a technical superlative in anything has limited value.
Okay.
If I tell you that I'm the best brand messaging guy that you're ever going to talk to, well, you can believe me, you cannot believe me, but the reality is, if you're someone who needs my help as that expert, you don't have the toolkit to know if I'm telling the truth or not.
That's right.
So what you're really selling is, at every level, yourself.
Okay.
Are you trustworthy? Are you likable? Are you a person who asks sincere questions? Are you actually about helping people? If it's like any other relationship you build with people, if it seems one-sided, people are out. If it seems like you're very focused on a singular goal and you don't care about anything but that, they're out. If you build sincere relationships with people around, I just want to help you. Let's just have a conversation and figure out what works, what doesn't, and talk to people on a very human level. That's your value proposition right there.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know that the audience that's watching today can utilize those skills that you just shared to help get out there and build their business. Now, I want to move a little bit away from the journey in the business, and I'll talk a little bit about the future. Let's just say that your business continues to grow and it affords you all the time and all the money in the world. Okay, so we got unlimited resources. Let's say you have that going. What is it that you would do with your time then?
I would buy land.
Okay.
And I would have a hobby farm that I ran on it, and I would have plenty of space and resources for hunting, for fishing, for doing outdoor things. I'm a white collar guy technically, I guess, because of what I do and the education that I have. But I'm a blue collar boy at heart, and love being outside. And where some people's dream might be like the biggest house they can have, I don't need the biggest house. I'd like to have one of the bigger workshops, and like one of the bigger pieces of property. The house, that's a place to crash.
Yeah, just need a bed in there. Now, what would be some of those hobby crops that you would grow, or plants or vegetables that you would grow on that farm?
Oh yeah, that's easy. One of the easiest things in the world to do are different types of berries, blueberries, blackberries, because they're pretty hardy. They're pretty resistant to a lot of different problems. And you can set that up as pick your own.
Okay. Yes.
Hey, come out here.
Yes.
Pick your own damn berries. So something like that. I would do other things too. One of the things I would love to do with the hobby farm type environment is is events and do it seasonal.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
in the fall, yeah, let's have a pumpkin patch. Let's come out and get your Christmas tree.
Okay.
Different things to bring people there, and you know, let local photographers bring people out, or local businesses
Okay.
bring people out for the change in scenery. Finding different ways to leverage that asset,
Okay.
while also being just able to do things I enjoy with it.
That you like doing.
Yeah.
Now, inside of our office, fishing has become a thing. Now,
Okay.
over the past 6 months to a year, all of the guys here are just going out there fishing. What is your most favorite fish to try to catch, and what is the biggest fish that you've caught?
Okay. So for me, it's about trout, and not anything super bougie like I fly fish with a cane pole or anything like that. Spin cast up in the mountains,
Okay.
ultralight tackle. I have found that it is impossible to think about any of your other problems while you're trying to catch a trout. So that's one of the beauties of it. As far as the biggest fish that I've caught, I don't even remember exactly which one, because it would have been a one-off. You know, I've been out lake fishing before, and you know, caught some bass. When I was a kid, we had a creek that ran behind our house. I would go out there, and you know, carp would come up the creek channel from the lake during the spring. They weren't interested in eating, only breeding. You know, 9-year-old kid out there trying to snag a great big old carp out of the creek. It'd be something along that line for just sheer size.
Gotcha.
But yeah, trout fishing is unique too, because what is a trophy is very personally defined, because you know, they're stocked.
Yes.
For the most part, you have holdovers and stream bred fish, and a few true natives like the brook trout in the extreme North Mountains. But, you know, a hatchery can raise a big fish and put it out in the water for you. So to me, a trophy is not necessarily about size. It's like,
think about it like that.
You know, for me, I'd much rather have, you know, a 9-inch brook trout that I caught off of a native stream that I really worked hard to get.
Yeah.
Over a 24-inch brown that I caught out of the Chattahoochee that was stocked,
bred,
close to that size.
Yes. Okay, makes a lot of sense. Definitely appreciate you sharing that. Just wanted to get to know a little bit more about yourself. And as I talk about that, the people here that are watching, if they do have questions about yourself, your journey, or their business, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
So the simplest way is to go to my website, and it's real simple. It is jaredachambers.com. That has everything there, not just the information about the business. It has other contact information if you're more comfortable, like sending in a form. If you're more comfortable talking on the phone, we can do that. Also has links to social media, all of the things. So jaredachambers.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming on the show with us today. It's been a pleasure hearing from you and what it is that you do. And we always honor our guests by giving you guys the last word. So, Jared, if you don't mind, please look into the camera and tell the people something good.
Just remember, no matter what it is that you're doing, you have a calling. I believe everyone has a calling. It may not be to run your own business, but maybe it is. And whatever you're doing, try to figure out what it is that you do better than anyone else, what you have a gift for, and find a way to do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Rod.
Absolutely. And to everyone that is watching, be kind and thanks.